people today, I'll put it up, and I'll put it in both on Educal. So you'll see video from today's in class. And that way, if you had questions or there was something we went through, and you can just hear it again in different answering questions so you can take a look at. So when you take a look at number 8, they started off and they told us 240 milliliters in 12 hours. And then they tell us that we want our answer to be in micro drops. So micro drops per minute. So your first thing we want to decide, time or liters? Which one do you want to change to first? Time. So where should I put the word hours because I want it to cancel? Numerator or denominator? Numerator. So I put my hours, and I noticed that they gave me a number 8. Hour is 2 minutes, or you might know that. 1 hour is 260 minutes. I got my answer so far in the right unit minutes. This is what I wanted. Not going to cancel that. So now I look at the other information they give me is 60 microdrops to 1 milliliter. So now the question is, where do I put the milliliters? I want it to cancel. And I want micro drops on top, which it will be now. And I have 1 milliliter is 260. So as we are taking a look at this one, we are going to be taking on our calculator 240 times going across 60. I'm not going to put times 1. And then I'm dividing it by everything in the denominator. And when you do that division, you can do it 2 ways. You can divide like this and put divide by 12 times 60, or you can put in your calculator 240 times 60 divided by 12 divided by 60. You want to make sure you get your calculator to work and check with that answer in the back, okay? So 40-hour week and 52 weeks in a year. They thought, oh, I'm working 24 hours a day and there's 365 days in a year. No, we aren't, right? We get to sleep and rest. Okay. So we start out with what we know. We put $8.25 per 1 hour. And keep in mind, we want dollars per year. So we're keeping the dollars. We're not messing with it, right? So as I take a look at it, Carter, using this information that I circled up here, what do you want to multiply by next to get rid of my unit hours? Hours over week. And what do we know? How many hours in a week are we working? 40. So 40 hours to 1 week. Okay? So my answer is now, and I know how much money I'm making dollars per week. But I don't want to know dollars per week. I want to know dollars per year. So if I'm looking at it, Martin, what are you going to do next? Multiply by what? 52, because that's my weeks. 1, and that's a year. So it doesn't say this as a conversion. What this means when they write that is it means 52 weeks equals 1 year, right? And when they tell you that this is a 40-hour work week, what they are telling you is that there are 40 hours equals 1 week of work. So they don't write it as a equality. They say it in terms of like a sentence, and so that's what that means when you see those in a sentence if you're looking at a problem. So in this case, we should think it should be pretty big. It's not that great though, is it? If you're making $8.25 an hour, that's why they're raising the minimum wage. 40 times 52. That's something you'd want to be. How much did you get? No, keep $8.25 times 40 and times 52. Yeah, 17,000. That's not that great of a living, is it? I mean, if you're working 40 hours a week, that's a full-time job, right? It's hard to figure out the starting point because they don't say change this. It's this big sentence. So when you look at those bigger sentences, the start is 3 miles. That's your start. Over 1. That's all it is. It's not a rate. It's not like dollars per hour where it's a rate. It's just simply 3 miles. And you are going to be multiplying by some things, but our answer, we want to know how many hours. So when you think about that, I want the unit hours to be totally in my numerator by the end of the problem, right? So, 3 miles. Oh, well, I noticed there's feet, so we've got to do the conversion from miles to feet first, right? So you want to tell me where I'm going to put things as I'm looking at that one? What would I be doing? Miles on the bottom, got it. So I have 1 mile and 5 to 8. So now I'm like, oh, my answer is in feet, but I don't want to know how many feet I want. I want to know how many hours. So I'm going to use this one next. So Ainsley, tell me what am I going to put for that next conversion? So you tell me. Our answer is in feet now. We're trying to get to hours.
Then you would put feet on the bottom.
Put feet on the bottom. I like it.
And hours on the top.
Oh, do I know hours yet?
Oh, wait, no.
I have minutes, right? But now my answer's in minutes and I'm closer to my answer, right? So now, Ilkay, tell me what am I going to do next?
1 hour over 60 minutes.
1 hour, 60 minutes. I'm definitely using my calculator, right? So just pull those calculators out. And I want my answer. The only unit I have left is hours. That's what I wanted for my end goal. So always think where you're going and where it has to be numerator or denominator. So on your calculator, 3 times 5,280. Then you have an option. Do you guys like doing the double division? Divide by 90. Then take that, divide by 60. And you are walking. Pretty nice walk, right? Pretty slow pace if we are looking at it. We're almost at how many hours? Almost 3. 2.94. Oh, I say you put 2.9. Someone else says approximately 3 hours. I'd probably make sure you put the decimal before you convert it to approximately 3, because you weren't gone 3 hours, but you're pretty close. And it's not 2 hours and 90 minutes, right? It's 2.9 hours. This is like 9/10 of 8 out of 60. So it's like less than 60 minutes when you're thinking about that, okay? On that page. So number 13 deals with for the test next week, okay? So on the test, we have like your letter grade, A, B, C, depending on your percent, 90, 80, 70, 60. And then there's the standards on our learner outcomes that we're looking at, or essential learner outcomes. This is considered a level 4 question. You would turn this in, you have up till next week when you take the test, so on Friday, to do this. It says, on a separate piece of paper, answer the questions and turn it into your teacher. Make sure you have your name on it. What is the mass of the air in your bedroom? Okay, that's the first question. So there's 2 questions to this. What's the mass? And could you lift it? So what is the mass? And then could you lift that amount in your 2 hands, that weight? So if it was that weight, like we knew the guy couldn't lift the bucket, right, of gold. It was way too heavy in one hand. You got both hands. We give you this information that 1.19 grams per liter. So to get a 4 on this, and again, this is towards the standard part. Does it affect your letter grade? It's just that when I put in the standards on the test, this would give you a 4 on that standard. You must list the measurements your measurements of your room and the conversion factors that you use to get them. So you're going to need to look those up. You can also need to write the correct unit analysis and show all your work. Make sure your answer has both parts of the question and a good explanation. So you just do it on a sheet of notebook paper. When would this be due? When you take your test next Friday. Okay? So I'm going to let you work the rest of the time.